Hey, little China.
What is it, Big Trouble?
You know that big giant who thinks he owns us?
Which one?
The one with the dangly thing between his legs, which I always want to pat at.
Oh yeah, that one. What about him?
He went to go see that Wes Anderson movie about the dogs.
Oh yeah?
He liked it.
Okay.
You know what that means, right?
He's gonna want to get a dog?
Are you really a cat?
Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot. Yeah, I'm a cat. Oh yeah, that's right, we hate dogs. So, boo. So what does that mean?
It means we have to kill him.
What?
Isle of Dogs is the latest from Wes Anderson. Now, many people have their feelings about Wes Anderson. I have loved Wes Anderson since I saw Royal Tenenbaums a third time. It took some work, okay? I saw it in the theater and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I may have to watch it again. I was like, okay, this is a little bit funnier. Third time around, absolutely loved it. And then I finally saw Life Aquatic, so on and so forth, and now I am a bona fide Wes Anderson fan. The reason why I love his work so much is that when you look even at a single frame of a movie by him, it is unmistakable. Very few directors have that particular prestige of being able to be recognized just by one frame. You can look at a frame from Godfather and know it's Coppola. You can look at a frame of Inception and know that it's Nolan. But when it comes to Wes Anderson, every frame is unmistakable. So you can imagine my delight when he finally decided to break out into animation. And then he did Fantastic Mr. Fox. Whereas most animation studios will just settle on CGI. And even some of the animation studios such as Leica or Aardman, they still do stop motion, but in the end they'll also do post-production effects and CGI to enhance those. Wes Anderson, no. He will still use little soap crystals in the place of fire, or he's going to use cotton in place of smoke. It is absolutely staggering the amount of time, dedication, and patience that obviously goes into every single frame of a Wes Anderson animated movie. Leading to the big question, is Isle of Dogs better than Fantastic Mr. Fox when it comes to the scale, when it comes to the character models, when it comes to the world that he's creating? Abso-freaking-lutely. I was absolutely hypnotized when I was looking at certain shots and the marriage of the composition compared to the motion, and the motion is so fluid, and I'm going, the amount of time that it took to move these character models so minutely in order to make sure that the motion is smooth is absolutely awe-striking. How much time did it take to make this thing? I mean, you gotta bear in mind, it's been about 3 years since Grand Budapest Hotel. No, 4 years, I think. So you gotta think about how much work he put into making this movie. And I'm not just talking about the animation itself, we're also talking about the character designs, the model work. The dogs all are of various breeds and of various types, and the fact that they animated characters with full-on fur, and the fact that they were even animating the fur is insane enough. But then you look over at the human characters, and you see all the paint work that they did in order to make their faces practically photorealistic. Yes, these characters are unmistakably cartoons, but even then, the paint work, the sculpts, whatever they can do to recreate actual imperfections in the human face is absolutely mesmerizing. This is the kind of stuff that makes me go, please, Wes Anderson, keep doing animation, because it is one of a kind. And I can't shower praise on it on that level enough. Now, the thing that makes Isle of Dogs stand out over all the other Wes Anderson films, and even over a lot of other films coming out this year, is the fact that this takes place in a dystopian future, decades in the future, the city of Nagasaki. Now, normally, whenever you have any movie that's set anywhere but America, or in any country where the dominant language is not English, for some reason they're going to have characters who are even from that neck of the woods talking English, and that's just a bit weird. All the human characters who are Japanese, they only speak Japanese. And anytime the movie needs to translate it, they translate it. Frances McDormand plays a really funny interpreter character, and a lot of times whenever a plot needs to be conveyed in a particular way or move forward by the humans, there's also a character named Tracy Walker who's an American exchange student who also helps to comprehend the plot and also comprehend a lot of the politics that's going on in the city of Nagasaki and of course all the dirty dealings happening involving Mayor Kobayashi. It's fascinating to see that whereas you can just be conventional and just convey the plot with characters just speaking in one language, instead this film opts to take alternate routes. And because they do, the film is a lot funnier. They explore every comedic potential of it, and it actually makes the story progression move in a much different way. But it also, and most importantly, hits home what is vitally important about this film. The emotional heart being the bond between man and dog. And that in itself is the thing that makes this one much more poignant. So all the dogs are voiced by pretty much a lot of Wes Anderson's regulars, with the exception of Bryan Cranston and Scarlett Johansson. But what's interesting here is that unlike stuff like Zootopia or Fantastic Mr. Fox, where the animals are conversing with each other as if humans do, they are conversing with each other strictly on dog terms. These are conversations that you could probably imagine dogs having with each other. They even joke about the fact that they don't really understand what the humans are saying. Of course, many jokes about the fact that all the dogs are trying to understand what Atari Kobayashi is saying. And there's a really funny scene where he's trying to rally the dogs and he's doing a big battle speech. But of course, it's entirely in Japanese. And the dogs are like, we don't understand a word he's saying, but okay, we'll do this. The dogs and the humans are still able to understand each other and their intentions and their feelings just by natural interaction. And it hits home exactly what the film is focusing on as far as the heart goes. You got Chief, who is astray and has been astray for a very long time and has something of a jaded attitude towards humans. He even attempted to bond with humans and it didn't go so well. Meanwhile, you've got Atari, who he has a almost spiritual bond with his dog. Obviously he does. He's flying a crappy plane over to this garbage island, which is basically a wasteland, in order to find his dog. That just shows how much it means to him. You have two very polar extremes when it comes to their ideology regarding interaction between human and dog. And the whole movie focuses on Chief lowering the walls and actually trying to find the right way to bond with Atari. And meanwhile, you have Atari bonding with Chief because he's also conflicted with the possibility that A, he may never find his dog, B, if he does find his dog, his father may never let him keep it, not to mention the fact that if he did find his dog, he may not want to go back because of the world as it is, of what's going on over there. It's kind of fascinating, this conflict that Atari has, and what's incredible is that despite the fact he doesn't speak a word of English, you understand it. And that's something that I didn't expect to get out of this movie. Now, with all that said, all the other characters, mainly the dog characters, I gotta say, yes, all of them are voiced by a lot of Wes Anderson's regulars: Jeff Goldblum, Edward Norton, Bill Murray, Bob Balaban. They're all wonderful. You can definitely unmistakably recognize their voices, and their interactions are what you'd want from a Wes Anderson film, and it's all hilarious. The hitch is that where Fantastic Mr. Fox, all the characters were able to stand out on their own, even characters who were minor, you remembered them all. You were able to distinguish them. In this film, because the majority of all the animal actors are dogs, if you were to ask me which one's Duke, which one's King, which one is for the life of me, off the top of my head, could not be able to place them. The only one I could is Chief and maybe Nutmeg, because Nutmeg is the girl dog, voiced by Scarlett Johansson. Enough said. It's really hard for me to differentiate one and the other, and that does hurt, because one of the great things about Wes Anderson movies is that they are dominantly populated with a very impressive ensemble cast. And the best part about them all is that even when they're on screen for just a short amount of time, they still stand out. That's the one thing this movie unfortunately does not have, and that's kind of a shame, really. I wanted to see a Wes Anderson film. I wanted to see something quirky, funny, with a dark sense of humor, but at the same time with a little bit of heart and a little bit of sweetness to it, and that's exactly what I got. In closing, Isle of Dogs is a considerably more ambitious animated foray for Wes Anderson, definitely more so than Fantastic Mr. Fox, but a lot of the characters don't stand out as well as they do in that aforementioned example. So, with that, I'm going to leave it with a narcotic casserole rating of... Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think this is probably one of Wes Anderson's worst? Or do you think that this is the best he's ever done and you can't possibly imagine how he could go better than this? Leave it all in the comments below. And for more addictive content on Narcotic Casserole, simply like, share, subscribe, click, thou shalt be served.